of our club. So please join me in welcoming our speakers, Professor Mark Thouin and Laxmi Peketi. Thank you so much for gracing this event, Professor and Laxmi. We are thrilled to have you on board. And Professor Mark Thouin is the director of the Masters in Information Technology and Management program, and he is faculty advisor.
Your audio just cut out.
Am I audible now?
It's good. Yeah.
Yeah. So Laxmi Peketi is a program manager at the Microsoft. She's a UTD alumni and the founder of our club. I would like to request Professor Thouin to start off the event and talk about the importance of product management and his experience with the club.
Yeah, absolutely. So good afternoon, good evening. Welcome, everyone. Glad to see such a great turnout, right? So obviously, everyone on the call today is interested in the topic of product management, digital product management, maybe being a product owner, right? And I'm excited. It's good to see you again, Laxmi, as well. It's been a little while. Looks like you're doing great at Microsoft based on everything I've seen and read. So glad you're here with us. I won't spend too much time talking myself. I do want to make sure that we all have a chance to hear from Laxmi and hear what she's up to at Microsoft, because I think that's really a highlight of today's and tonight's event. And I'll just start off and talk a little bit about the importance of student organizations and student clubs in general, and then specifically about the product base overall. And so all of our student clubs are student-led and student-run. And what that means is I'm the faculty advisor. I'm here to provide advice, and I'm not here to run it or tell our student leaders what to do. And so everything you see today and moving forward from the product base is really a direct result of the leadership team in the product base and their hard work and their efforts. So I'd like to kind of give credit where it's due and point that out from the beginning. And then, secondly, and hopefully Laxmi will talk about this just a little bit, student clubs in general provide our students with opportunities to assume leadership roles, right? And these opportunities are, put you in a position to get experience doing things you might not otherwise be able to do, right? You're working with a group of people, you're scheduling and coordinating events, and that experience, in my opinion, is very valuable. And then, I guess my last thought is about just product management in general, and it's in my opinion, this is an area and this is a space that it's been around for a while, right? It's been around for a long time, really. But when you look at recent events and recent developments, I think most organizations are now seeing the value in establishing and assigning and creating the role of a product owner or a product manager or a program manager, right? They go by different names, but in effect, it's a single person who is responsible for the development of a technology product, right? Whatever that product might be. And that person has ownership, they have accountability, they have responsibility, right? And a lot of times historically software was made by committee and you had teams and groups and there wasn't a single person. I mean, there might have been a project manager, but there wasn't someone focused on the product. And by having someone focused on the product, you're able to better meet the needs of your stakeholders and be responsive to your stakeholders. And it's in my opinion, really turning out to be a very effective model for developing and delivering high value software. So if you're interested in a career as a product manager, great. I love it. I think you have a bright future. If you're here just to learn more about it because you think it might be helpful, I think that's fantastic as well. And again, I think when you look around and you see what the good companies are doing, what the top companies are doing, like Microsoft, right? I think you'll see and find that they're deploying this model, using this model, and they're having a lot of success doing it as well. So that's it on my end, and I'll stop there for my brief comments. And looking forward to this event and other events as we move forward. And I'll turn it over to Pooja if you want to introduce Laxmi, or just go straight to Laxmi. That's fine either way. So I'll turn it back over to you.
Pooja, I think you're on mute.
I'm sorry. Okay. Thank you, Professor. So moving on to our second speaker, our founder, Laxmi. She's here today to share with us her why she started the product base and her journey and her experience as a PM at Microsoft. So over to you, Laxmi. And if anybody have any questions for Laxmi or Professor, you can drop it in the chat box and we'll get back to you in the question and answer session. Laxmi, you're on mute.
Oh, sorry. I was just asking, are we going to share the deck now, or are we planning to do it later after?
We can share it now. Okay, I think Varun is going to share it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, while they're bringing it up, I can just introduce myself. I am Laxmi. I'm actually currently a program manager at Microsoft and working with Azure Data on the supportability space, driving the different KPIs for customer experience and service. That's a brief about me, what I'm doing right now. I was fall 2018 graduate. I graduated in 2019, yeah, December 2019 to be specific. I was there for a bit, for a 1.5 year tenure actually, and I did work on multiple things and everything. One of my biggest thing I take back from studying at UTD was starting the product base, and that's very close to me. And I can talk about it in detail in the next few slides. But can you go to the next slide, please? I'll talk about my journey so far. Then, yes. So I don't know if many people know, I'm actually a civil engineer. I did my undergrad in NIT Warangal as a civil engineer. And somewhere around my third year, I realized that's not my cup of tea. And I wanted to explore the experience in technology. And that's when I decided to take up a first job in Bank of America as a quality analyst. And that's where I realized and saw how we can work on different products. I worked with different product managers and worked on different software and everything. And to take up, since my background was not in technology and this was just my first role, I decided to take up masters in information technology and management, where I could, have a background, have a solid foundation into technology industry and everything. So that's where I got my stepping stone into the industry, learning more into technology and different things that are happening around the world. UTD was definitely a great opportunity for me to explore my different spaces. That's where, so it was a time when everyone was talking about data analysts, data scientists, and data this, data that, and that I was a little confused and probably not someone not so inclined to data, but then somewhere around that time is when I realized that maybe I need to think a little alike, maybe need to find a space where might suit my likings or something that would go around with my kind of personality. That's one of the video which I really watched, a TED talk, is when it struck me that product management might be a space that might be more inclined to my kind of personality and more something that would be useful for me in my career. So that's when I saw my first video of TEDx talk about Netflix product manager. I'll drop that link later and might be really helpful for anyone thinking about product management or anything of that sort. So that's and then at that time I was already working as a portfolio manager in Nokia. My role was more of a data engineer itself, working on Excel, macros, and etc. But when I watched this video, it really struck me that maybe I need to explore my product management side of it, or maybe try to get a hold or experience or something of that sort. With no background, I don't think most companies usually prefer hiring interns or hiring a product manager. But then since my internship was going on, I did talk to my manager and see if I could work for the product space. Luckily, they were very helpful about it. So that internship where I worked with the product management team was really where my start of a stepping stone to my career. That's where I worked on different brainstorming sessions, design ideas, worked with designers and worked with the software developers to understand what product management or how the product management works. That's when I actually reached out to Mark Thouin professors to see if there's any club in UTD that would help me. Probably I could join or help into the product space. That's when he told me that I don't think there's anything out there, but you can definitely start one. And thanks to him, I work with Dwanika, my other partner, my friend. She and I started working on creating the product base. And we had our first event around 2 years back, November of 2019. And that's been great so far. And it's good to see such great work being done and taking forward in terms of the club. And I've seen that many speakers have come forward. And it's great to see that the participation has also been great. And folks are more interested in the product management space also. Now that it's becoming more popular as well. Back then, it was not something new grads would pick up, but I'm glad that the awareness is brought out by the college as well as the club that this is definitely a space a new grad or newcomer can actually look into, and there is more than just data science or data engineering out there that you can explore if it suits your career path. So this is my journey. So to Microsoft, after my internship, I started focusing only entirely on product management and trying to only work on jobs or apply for jobs that were related to that. That's when I did come across multiple opportunities to apply for Microsoft and as well other companies as well. Because my whole focus was particularly in product management, I was able to do multiple mock interviews, which I'll go through the process in the next few slides, and also talk to a lot of different teams and read a lot of books which were related to product management, which actually helped me during my different interviews with product management, and not just Microsoft, but other interviews. Product management is a very particular interview process that if you can practice with a lot of different people, then it's definitely helpful. As much as you practice for any coding interview, product management is also very similar. If you can practice with different people and new people especially, it'll be a great opportunity for you to crack the final interview. We can go through in the next slides, but somewhere around that October-ish is when I got a chance to join Microsoft. Thanks to the product base and thanks to my internship as well and UTD for the opportunities they have presented through my journey. Any questions?
Hi Lakshmi, this is Anjali from ITM. So I had a question. We are aware about the interview process of a data engineer or a data analyst or a quality analyst. However, I'm not sure. I wanted to know what is the hiring rounds or what do they expect or they ask from you when you apply as a apply for a product manager or a intern role.
Yes.
Can you please guide in that?
Definitely. Thank you for that question, Anjali. That would just that would be a step to the next slide for us so that I can walk through the whole process and then help you guys understand on how we can get started and prepare for the product management interviews. So as I mentioned, mock interviews being very important.
We have a question in the chat box. They want to know like what are the few courses you have taken during your masters that helped you in the field of management.
Agile technology management and product management is another course which I took. I think it was called digital product management, and I would definitely say that data courses also did help. I'm not saying they did not help. They were very helpful because some of the product managements have an overlap with some data science and then BI, business intelligence kind of roles. So product management is the essence is to have an exposure into most of the things that are out there. It has an overlap with BI as well. So you might sometimes need to do you might need to cook up some Power BI dashboards or Tableau dashboards. And at the same time, there might be times when you need to pull data from SQL, stores and everything. So SQL, forgot what the course title was, but SQL, the course where we learned SQL is also very important. At the same time, data pulling BI, Power BI and everything. So those courses are also important at the same time.
Thank you, Laxmi.
Okay, the next question is what, according to you and from your experience, are the main skills we can work on during our graduate school time to prepare ourselves for product roles? I would say take the opportunity that the university provides in working in different clubs, taking up different leadership roles, networking, because honestly, it's not just the coursework, and at the same time, the skills of being able to talk and interact with different teams and different people is very important. And when you are pushed into the real world, either in a product role or any other role, being able to communicate and drive all these is very important. So I would say take the opportunity. If there is a club that interests you, join it. If there is not one, create it or build it or start it. If there are any events or networking events, please make sure to attend them because they're really helpful. And you don't know who you might meet, who you might interact with, who they can be your mentor forever. So some of my great mentors I've met through networking events that I still talk to, and it's a great opportunity. I don't think I am able to attend as many networking events now that I used to be able to attend in university, and the connections you build there are something that you can take back. So skills I would say is experience is this networking and creating leadership opportunities for yourself. Skills is communication and everything which you build through the course of taking part into these events and processes. Hopefully that answers your question, Gunjan.
Yeah, I think we can take the questions at the end now. We can continue with the session. Yeah.
Sounds good. Okay, like I was mentioning about the mock interview process or the design interview process, which is for product management specific. Different companies have different processes, but most of the product roles have a very clear-cut process, which is design interview. To be specific, it's like when you would be presented with a question, which could be as simple as, can you design an alarm clock? The reason why the interviewer would ask some simple question like this is just with no more details, design an alarm clock. He or she would want you to ask questions. A product manager, when given a problem, when you are presented with a real life problem, you as a product manager need to ask the customer or the person in charge or person giving you the requirements, ask them what is the problem, what type of alarm clock do you want to build, who is it for, what is it for, what are the specifications, what are the small details that you want in this. So when a question like this is being presented, as simple as design an alarm clock, there are some steps you need to follow in creating or answering this question in an interview. So there is a set format which you need to answer them in. I can drop the link to it, and probably it's a chart which I can show. It's like first you answer, you try to understand the customer base. So you ask the interviewer, okay, who is this alarm clock for? Then you can present to the interviewer, is it for a student? Is it for a teacher? Is it for a person who's blind? It could be anything. So the interviewer will give you an option. Okay, can you design it for someone who's blind, right? Then you take that input and then you answer the next part of question. So first is customer base. Next is understanding the customer journey, right? So the customer is blind now, and how do you design for someone who creating an accessible alarm clock for them? Next would be creating the process. Put yourself in the customer's shoe and then try to analyze from step by step on why or when the customer would need an alarm clock. So someone who is blind is probably waking up in the morning and trying to understand what the time is. So how if he is not able to visualize the time, how can he do it? Voice is another way you can think about creating that accessibility factor for the customer. You present your ideas or your this is just a suggestion, but everyone here might be having 10 different ideas on how we can help create an accessible alarm clock, right? So when you present these set of ideas, it could be like voice enabled, it could have braille on the alarm clock, it could be something else as well. So you present these three options to him and say that, next step after presenting a customer journey and customer options would be to present the pros and cons and why you think which option is the best. So I could say that I think voice enablement is a good option, so that if he's at any point or anywhere in the room, he doesn't need to touch the alarm clock always. So this is a good suggestion or recommendation from me. This is my recommendation, and then have a conclusion to talk about. Okay, this is why I recommend this idea, and this is so it works. So this process might sound simple, and I've summarized within 10 minutes. But when you're talking to the interviewer, it could be a completely different use case. It could be completely out of the box. You've never heard of it. They could ask you to design a shopping mall for an old age home. It could be they ask you to design even a data center, something that saves carbon free or carbon energy. So it's completely out there. It could be anything. So how do you tackle these kind of questions? If when it was my first mock interview, I was completely blank. I didn't understand what idea would I give. But the most important thing to understand while the design interview question is a step format. So you're creating your own format of it. There are many formats out there that are given by different books and everything. You could follow them or create your own space, but having a format embedded will make your answer more defined. So having a defined answer would be helpful and for the interviewer to understand better too. So yeah, enough of the format, and I'll go through how to tackle or understand your process through the journey of like taking mock interviews. If you have 3 months, and how to divide your time to work on those product interviews. As you see in the slide, first one, learning and shadowing. Take 1-2 weeks. Even before this, take like 1-2 weeks to actually understand what product manager is, what product management is, and what a product manager does. So when you understand a person's role, you can actually put yourself in their shoes and think about answering these questions in that sense. So read multiple books. I think the resources, the links are in this deck already, and read those books, understand what is out there, what people do, and then only attempt to take mock interviews. That's my first suggestion. So in the learning and shadowing phase, I would say keep the first 2 weeks in the beginning of your mock interview process is just to shadow in and see how mock interviews are done. So there are multiple forums where you can actually sign up for mock interviews and then request folks to take a mock interview for you. So you will actually, just by listening in, you'll see how different people are answering, and at the same time you will understand how a mock interview is done or the product management program or interview process is. So first, learning and shadowing, next, defining. So once you go through all these shadowing process, and then once you're just building up the whole time, it'll be great to keep writing down each of your mock interview. Like, how did your mock interview go? What are the ideas and what are the questions that were asked, and how did you frame your answers? that when you go back and look, like you'll see how your thought process has gone through in the couple of months of your mock interviews. That's the dividing phase, and then by the end of it, you'll have a clear format in your head. Lastly, perfecting your mock interviews. Once you have done with your initial mock interviews with friends, it could be other people out there. It'll be great to get one or two mock interviews with someone in the industry, and definitely helpful because their feedback will actually help you or correct those small things that you're making a mistake. By now, I'm sure you would nail the format, you'll nail your ideas, and by then, with the number of mock interviews you take and you give, you will actually have different ideas in your head already. So lastly would be perfecting. So another tip I wanted to give is how does a mock interview go is it's a two-way process. So when you request for a mock, the other person always also wants to work with you on a mock. So usually it's like an hour session where first half an hour is when you take a mock or they take a mock for you. And then the next half an hour is the other way around, switching around. So I would say always be the first one to give the mock because you wouldn't know that person yet, and that creates the whole space of being new to that person, and that will create that tension in you and make you work better. So by the end of it, by the different mocks you do, you meeting a lot of people will help you give you more confidence to give an interview, and at the same time will build your rapport and also how to talk in perfect sense for someone you haven't never met before. So this is the mock interview phases and the stages. Can you go to the next slide? Yes. So I mentioned most of this in the previously, but we can just go through again. The plan, as I said, it will probably take 1 to 3 months. And the first month, learn about the different PM concepts, books and articles and videos. And then next 2 months would be focusing specifically on the mock interviews and getting the design interview format corrected. Then the preparation is basically, like I mentioned, understanding the product management, the trades, what the product manager does in general, and then going through interview formats and etc. Lastly is finding the mock interview partner. That's very important. You need to find as many partners as possible and then work on those mocks. I would say a good amount of mock interviews would be 10 to 20, and that would set you ahead of most people. Can you go to the next slide? Yes. So a bunch of Facebook groups which are really helpful. Product managers, women in product is really helpful. They have a Slack channel too, women in product interview preparation, and the Levis C Linen interview community. They are amazing. I found many mock interviews through that channel and also product school. So join in these places. If you are preparing for any interview, make sure you join in now. If you have your graduation coming in December, make sure you start your preparation in June, July itself, because most companies finish hiring for the next year's August by the previous year, December, January itself. So make sure you start ahead, work on these resources and everything. Another course I would recommend everyone before they even start any preparation is becoming a product manager. It's a great LinkedIn learning course, and make sure to take that. Books I would definitely recommend is Cracking the PM Interview and Decode and Conquer. Decode and Conquer is a complete book of design interview questions defined to the detail on how people answer, what a good question is and what a bad question is. That is your Bible. I would say before taking any mocks or before going into any interview, this book is the one you need to read. And then if another few things that really helped is design thinking. If you guys can take a design thinking course or watch design thinking videos, definitely helpful because it makes you think out of the box and how look at things in a different perspective. That I have realized. Can you guys hear me? I think I got cut out.
Laxmi, now we can hear you. Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. So the MBTI test is a personality test that helped me analyze if I would be a good product manager or what kind of role that would help me. It just brings out our qualities and sees if it might be something that would help us. So read about that personality test and see if product management is a great fit for you guys. I think, yep, that's it from my side. Am I going to take questions now or should we wait until?
No, we can do the questions now.
Okay, sounds good.
You know, Laxmi, if before we get into the questions, could you? I have a question. I guess is how I'll start it off, right? So I guess, and it's a two-part question. So your job title is at Microsoft is program manager, right? And can you talk about the differences between how different companies use the different job titles related to product management, right? So some companies seem to use program manager as the job title, and others, product manager or product owner, and they're slightly different. So can you talk about that a little bit? And also, I think it'd be helpful, and I think we spoke maybe, I don't know, a year ago, maybe a little bit less, and you talked about a little bit about your day-to-day responsibilities. So could you talk about, as a program manager, what software product or set of products, I think you said Microsoft Azure, right? Some component of Azure that you oversee. I'd be very interested to hear that as well. And you don't have to go into all the details about it, but just kind of, the product itself and some of the things you do with it.
Yes, thank you, Professor. That's a good question, which actually was confusing for me too before when I started my whole journey of product management. So in actual terms, program, product, and projects are completely different things and they should not be related. But the industry has a different thing going on with them. But let me talk through what they actually mean and what sense that by pure definition itself. So project management is actually a project, and it could be just take a banking logging page. Okay, the project of creating that logging page is a project. So a project manager is someone who works on that project, the timelines, resources needed, and everything for that logging page. A product manager is responsible for the whole app itself. That could be their product. And now program manager is someone who is responsible for multiple different apps for this banking company. It could be a login, a stocks app. It could be just a normal savings account app, or it could be any other app. So a program, it's like this. Portfolio management is first thing. That is like key goals of the company, driving more revenue, customer satisfaction, and it could be employee satisfaction. That could be the portfolio goals of a company. So a portfolio manager drives these different goals. Now, a program manager is one level down. So it could be driving revenue. In driving revenue, there are what are the key programs in the company that drive revenue or bring revenue. So a program manager should be responsible for those key programs. Now, under him is a product manager for one specific section. And in that one specific section, different projects are there. That is a project manager. So hopefully this definition is purely based on how people have defined over years. And that's how people should be naming the roles as well. But that's unlike what's happening in the industry. It's completely different from this. Many companies have different nomenclature for product managers and So product managers and product owners are completely two different roles. Product managers are who work on creating or resolving one customer problem, and they work on that end to end. So taking Amazon as an example, back when Jeff Bezos had that question on how if customers don't want to go to the shop physically, how do we bring the shop or products to them? Okay, that was his question initially. So he taking up that product management in him, he thought that, okay, how do I bring this? That's the problem. Now create a solution to it. So he worked on creating a website and then build it end to end and marketed it, right? So he was a great product manager in that sense. So starting working on the product of that, working on a problem statement and creating the whole solution for it. So that is a product manager. Now, product owner is in an agile team. He works on taking the requirements from the business and then giving it to the normal, the different team owners and everything. So they might be overlap between it, but they're a little different and they work on different spaces. Now, industry has product managers, program managers, and project managers. So Microsoft especially does not have product managers or project managers. They only have program managers with the role which is combined within product and project. So most of our roles or different teams have a combination of product and project in them, imbibed, not just product. And we do not work as program managers. By actual term, program manager is completely different, but our role is product management and project management. Now, there are different companies have different this thing. They have APMs, associate PMs, different titles and everything. Don't go by the title, read what is there over there and then apply. And product management is definitely a space where you get to work on different products and you get to work on them end to end. Professor, hopefully I answered the difference in product management and everything.
No, that was wonderful, right? And I think you really captured just the nature of the terms and how they're used. So thank you and appreciate that.
No problem. Now, my role in Microsoft is my day-to-day job has, so in Microsoft, there are different program managers. There are feature program managers. There are program managers that take care of different KPIs and reporting and everything. And there are program managers who drive design and UX. So UX program managers are taking requirements from the product teams and see how we can build the UI and then from UX side of it. There are feature program managers who work with customer issues and then they create products or create the whole system on features that would help customers or drive more customers in. So my specific role is more into reporting and driving KPIs. So I work with the supportability Azure data team. In under my portfolio, we have SQL DB, Power BI, Cosmos, a lot of different services. And I work with their PMs to see how their KPIs are going and then creating programs or projects that will help increase their customer experience and customer satisfaction rating. So some of the things could be just brainstorming on why the customers are providing such low CSATs, or how can we improve on one particular service and how we can drive those numbers higher. So a lot of different things. I don't want to confuse you guys all. This is a little boring, but hopefully it just gives you a gist about how the different program management roles vary in different companies and in Microsoft itself. Okay, moving on. Pooja, do you want to go through the next questions?
Yes. So, okay, we have a question from Maunika. As an international student, will product manager and program manager job titles and related job responsibilities be a concern to fall under STEM education category?
No, not at all.
Okay.
Because they basically align into a technical role. And since if you're in an ITM student, then information technology and management, so we have a combination of that too. So the courses we take are some of the courses which I'm working on as well. So.
Okay, so I think I've been looking at like two different product management job listings. One is like product manager and the other one is like technical product manager.
Yes.
So the product manager, does it like, do they even fall under the STEM course?
Yeah, both
STEM.
do. Both do. Technical program managers, some of them write code. They all have to review code. So in that sense, that it would be more of like mostly they hire students from CS background because they have to go through the code and specifications of that. But a PM has an overlap I specifically don't work on code, but if you are hired into a team which is more feature PM and then technical PM, then you would be required to at least have a code review or understand what is happening in the background.
Yeah, I think Amazon has recently made computer science as a mandatory bachelor's degree for the technical program managers. Yeah. Okay, so moving on to the next question, what technical skills would be needed for product manager and any specific tools, knowledge, or certification programs that you would suggest?
I wouldn't suggest certification programs, but I would definitely suggest learn how to read dashboards or building up dashboards, Tableau, Power BI, anything that's out there on BI Sense, make sure to pick that up. And then also understanding and pulling up data. So SQL is a great space to work on. And Python is something that you could probably look at. I don't code in my daily basis, and I don't think I would have be asked to code, but there are some teams where you might be asked to code. So
Yeah, I think when we sent out a registration form and asked them to send in their questions, this is one of the questions that we received like many times. What do you do on your day-to-day basis at Microsoft? I think it'll be great if you
yes.
can walk us through your
Yes.
day before we go to our next questions.
Yes, so I briefly covered it a little bit, but so as I mentioned that I work on driving different KPIs. So some of them is meeting with our customer experience team and seeing how we can utilize some of their projects to incorporate with my services and our services, and then push those projects with the teams, work with them to see why they're lacking behind on the KPIs, and we have a bunch of meetings that we need to report with the execs, and then creating a lot of reporting decks, creating a lot of Power BIs, where we are tracking constantly some of the things that we do. And the fun part is having brainstorming sessions where we get to analyze different problems from the customer's perspective, and at the same time creating new projects for ourselves too. So on a day-to-day basis involves a lot of brainstorming, working with different folks, attending a lot of meetings, as I'm sure product management is notorious for. But it's a great space, I would say, if you are someone who would love to talk to a lot of people and play different roles and put on different hats, and then work with a lot of different teams across. This is definitely something you would want to explore on.
Okay, so next question is there are certain product managers that specifically look out for an MBA for product manager. Will the roles be different for the MBA or the MSBA or ITM people?
I do not believe so. They're mostly very similar. It's just that some roles might need a little bit more experience. So MBA is usually done after some years of work experience. I mean, most of the time that's how it is done. So maybe that's the only reason why they look for MBA students. Otherwise, I think they're open to hiring master's students as well. But in those kind of sense, I think it's just more business kind of role and more strategy and business thinking and everything. But I'm sure anyone from doing masters in ITM and BA can work on those too.
Great. So, what should be our internships search strategy? Anything particular we can add to our skill set in order to get a product management intern?
Yes, so I would say try finding. Okay, to set an approach to these kind of roles is usually internships are hard to get in product management when without any prior experience or without showing specific target to that. So I would say like when you are like fixed your head, or even if you are trying to explore that area, try finding products and industries that interest you, and try breaking it down and then picking a product and then analyzing on or reviewing how it is, and then finding small things why you like the product or why you dislike the product and how you would improve the product, and then also brainstorming new ideas and writing them down or even writing articles about it. So once you keep doing this, you will see or put yourself in a product manager's shoes and then analyze different products And then when you go into approach to either talk to someone in the product management in the industry or even talk to an interviewer, you will have that already imbibed in you, that how to talk in that sense, or how to give feedback, how to review products. So one of the questions that I was asked in a Microsoft interview is, what is your favorite Microsoft product, and how would you improve it? So take this question and put yourself in any different company. It could be, what is your favorite product in Facebook, or it could be, what is your favorite product in Amazon? How would you improve it? So keep doing this, and then you will start analyzing it. This is a great skill to imbibe or start your journey. Writing articles is a great start point. So once you write articles, and you can share, talk to product managers or product owners about it, and then take these articles as a reference that, hey, I believe this is why I think so, and then it could be a great starting point while searching for internships or while looking into the industry.
Okay, so our next question is, could you suggest any academic projects to get some sort of hands-on experience other than working with clubs at the school?
Projects on hands-on experience. Create product, create an app, be a product manager in a project, and work on a new idea or something, and start working on it. Build a team together, and then start working on an app. It could be even anything you're building online, could be a website as well. So work on any project. So any project out there needs a product manager to think and then define the customer issues, and seeing what's out there, doing industry research, and then thinking and defining the requirements, and then talking to your teammates about it. So any project could be having or requiring a product manager. So it doesn't necessarily need to be specifically for product management.
Okay, I think we covered all our questions. And if anybody's having any other questions, or you want to like talk to Laxmi directly, we still have 15 minutes of time. So
you're in the Seattle area, right, Laxmi?
Yes.
Yes, and yeah, so it's a couple hours earlier than us right now, so middle of the afternoon. So thank you for joining us. And just curious, are you mostly virtual, or how much of your day is virtual versus going into the office?
So prior to moving into my new place right now, I actually went into the office almost every day for the last 1 year. I live very close to the office, like 10 minutes walk. So that was much easier for me. And I could get special permissions to work in the office. And right now I am virtual again, just so that I got a bigger space and I could set up my own office. But
yeah, and I guess my next question is about being a program manager with Microsoft. You know, what are some of the challenges of doing it virtually and remotely versus in person?
Yeah, it is. What as a program manager, you would want that interaction with a lot of different people, and having that physical conversation, and then being able to think about ideas physically is much easier than online space. But I think we all are adapting to the whole virtual space, and then using online tools where we can brainstorm and then come together to build. 30%, it is definitely a downgrade. I am like, things I could probably solve in 1 hour takes me at least a day or two to get it across. But yeah, I guess we are trying to balance it out with a different thing. But yeah, so far, pretty good. We all are learning, I guess.
okay, a question from our registration responses. So can you share any information about the internship opportunities at Microsoft, and like how to prepare for an interview at the Microsoft company?
Yes, so Microsoft, not many people do realize this, that if you are graduating in May next year, say May 2020 or August 2020, or in summer of that, or December 2021, Yeah, so any of these semesters, you need to apply for the internship or the full-time job when it's open. July is when it usually opens, and you need to apply for it as soon as possible. They put you in a first come first serve loop, I think, and then they start picking up or calling people immediately, and they finish hiring. Most of the time, they finish hiring by December. So after that, they open up or they pick candidates if there are some open positions or they have new heads coming out. But usually the hiring is done in December. So students don't realize this and they start applying only in December if they're graduating in May. But that's not how it should be done. It should be done prior. Uh, Probably in August, September, October is when you need to start applying to all the most of the big companies because they all close down by December. How to prepare for them? Mock interviews, as I mentioned, all the things I mentioned before. So start preparing. It's a long process. You will talk to a lot of companies and talk to a lot of people, but make sure to start early is what I would suggest to everyone.
Yeah. Okay. Another question from our registration forms. How do you show customer obsession on the resume, and is it needed for a PM based resume?
Customer obsession, if you don't have prior experience, I would say it's not necessary. During the interview, the way you answer your design interview question itself shows customer obsession. If they say that design an alarm clock, if you just ask questions like, okay, what kind of alarm clock or anything, and dive deep into just understanding the alarm clock rather than understanding the customer base behind it, that is the difference of understanding if you have the customer obsession in you or not. This is just an example, but I think that gives a gist of how we can frame our questions and answers based on that.
Okay, and we have one in our chat box. So Payal is asking, you mentioned about understanding data and to be able to pool data. Do you know which course in ITM would help us learning this skill?
Understanding the data, I would say, I forgot the course title, but it's where it's a business intelligence one, where they teach you about Power BI, Tableau, and everything. And pulling data is SQL, the course where I learned SQL. Sorry, it's been a long time. I forgot. Yeah, data visualization. Yes.
Data visualization. Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the other one was Professor. I forgot the term. I think where you learn SQL basically.
The database foundations.
Yes, database foundations.
Great. So another question, even for full-time job, do we need to apply before December? Supposedly, if I'm graduating by the end of summer 2022.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm talking about full-time roles. Internship also you need to before apply, but full-time roles 100% you need to apply one year, almost a year before. But this is not specific. Don't be disheartened if you don't have a job till January. There are people who find jobs afterwards. There are two kinds of companies that do in a different sense. One kind of companies that they have a headcount for specifically for new grads and internships and everything that is unrelated to the different orgs. So that budget opens up 1 year prior. So they try filling it and distributing it to the different orgs. There is another kind of company, more small and medium size, where they open up heads only like 2-3 months before joining or like you're joining or they're opening. And that's when they start interviewing. So don't be disheartened if you do not get a job before December. But I'm just trying to tell you is there are companies out there which hire prior. So keep applying to as many as possible. Make sure you apply early is what I would say.
Okay. So before moving on to any other questions, we have Varun from our CR team, and he'll be sharing with us the membership perks and the upcoming events.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, Varun, go ahead.
Awesome. Thanks, Laxmi, for sharing insights about product management and what all it takes to become an excellent one, just like you. But right now, let's focus on how this club can help the students here to excel the way Lakshmi you are doing. So with respect to the product based club that we have right now, we have two things. Our goal is quite simple. Our mission is to spread the awareness of product management and how to prepare for the interviews. So whatever sessions we are going to have subsequently in the remaining period of this semester and the next semester, it is all focusing on how to prepare for the interviews, what all things are supposed to be covered. And we will be talking to more experts from different companies, talking about different aspects of product management. As Lakshmi mentioned earlier, that you have different set of job role when it comes to um, delivering your work. One person is responsible for designing, one person may be responsible for executing the end-to-end project with the agile methodology, and the other one would be more into user feedbacks and how are you enhancing the product that you delivered. So we are going to cover all the entire cycle of product management, and in each and every session we would be talking about mock interviews and how to prepare. That's our main goal, so that the members who would be registering for this club will benefit a lot out of it. So that's our mission, the mission and the vision. That's what I was talking about. I will quickly go ahead with the numbers of this club. We have more than 280 members for this particular club, and the center of attraction for this club is the materials, is the knowledge that the experts coming from different companies are sharing, and how are they mentoring each and every student in the club, and also the way they are delivering the sessions. It is not just a session where they are just talking about it. There will be sessions where they are trying to interact with the students. They are going to ask business case studies, and the way Lakshmi mentioned about critical thinking, what kind of questions you propose, what kind of questions you have in place. And maybe in the start the questions might be very generic, but that's the whole point of this club, is to improve your critical thinking as well, so that you are able to design the product in a much better way. So till now we had so many members registered, and we are forcing more and more members, more and more students registering for this club, so that we benefit a lot out of it. Moving on to the previous speakers, we had speakers from Amazon, we had speakers from Microsoft, we are having it right now as well, and Uber as well. So these are the experts from different companies who shared their experience, decades of experience in management, and how are they designing the product. And the main crux here is the end user. What is the impact of the solution that you are designing? How is it going to benefit the end user and the type of end user who is going to use it? So different companies with their different company motives designed different products. So the more sessions that students will attend here, they will have more perspective behind different business units and what is the significant impact. For, let's say for example, applying for if you are applying for a pharmaceutical company like Bayer, they are very much into healthcare. So their end users is more around patient centric, and how are they optimizing the entire clinical trial process, and how they are delivering whatever reports that they have for patients, so that the end user is benefiting a lot. So accordingly you would start thinking about the product design or the application design in that manner. So we will be having different um, speakers from different companies, and each of them have different business units as well, so that you would also understand the business unit and what the business is all about. So that's the benefit of this club. It's not just one business unit. You will have different kind of business unit, and it just improves your knowledge a lot. Then the roadmap. So as I mentioned that we will be having certain events in the remaining period of this semester and also the next semester as well. But we would like to cover all the process, the product management life cycle, starting from a plan, starting from a design. Then once your design is ready, how are you going to implement it with the proper project management skills and agile methodology, making sure that you are having the requirements all set with proper assumptions and dependencies. You plan out the budget of the entire project, how many resources are required. So I worked as a project manager. I worked as a business analyst, but I was also working under project manager. And I also learned how it is important to plan out the resources as well. How many engineers would be required at what period of time? You don't want to waste each and everyone's efforts by not setting up the timelines properly. So all of these aspects are very important so that you are able to kind of crack the mock interview. Let's say if you are going for a project management internship or a full-time opportunity, this club with the sessions that are lined up, they are also going to talk about project management as well. So you're going to benefit a lot from the overall life cycle. And finally, you have the mock interviews, as we were very much emphasizing in the beginning as well, that going through the resources that we are going to share from the slides that we are showcasing now and going through those books will really help you a lot in preparing for mocks. But knowledge aside, knowledge is something that you need to have, but more than that, you also need to practice for mock interviews. So there will be situations where the mentors that are gonna take the sessions, they are also gonna take interviews as well, mock interviews, maybe a one-on-one sessions if required. Or we will have certain competitions where we would be taking care of business case studies, and there'll be teams who would be competing for the business case studies, and these product managers from different companies would kind of judge you guys and accordingly provide you guys certain feedback. So all of these things are planned for the remaining remaining semester and the next semester. And trust me, with the subsequent events that we are going to have, we have already speakers lined up. Talking about speakers, for the next event, we have Carson, who is a product manager from Shipwell. Shipwell is a company which is into supply chain and logistics, and they create certain custom solutions for different companies as well. So Carson will, with his knowledge of supply chain, how is he tackling different kind of business problems? How is he tackling different kind of logistics problem through cloud solution and analytics? That's where his expertise would be discussed. And we have the registration link as well, so you guys can quickly scan the barcode here and start registering right away, because the responses that we'll be getting, it's going to be a lot, because Carson is a very reputed person from Shipwell, and he has a lot of expertise, not just from Shipwell. He worked in active networks as well. So he also worked in telecommunication business unit. So you will have knowledge about that business unit as well. So that's the next event that is planned. And you guys can definitely go ahead and scan the registration barcode. And if not, if you're not able to scan now, we are going to definitely roll out the email and you guys can register for this upcoming event as well. This is going to happen on 4th of November. So it's like within a couple of weeks. So be prepared. If you have certain questions, you can shoot up the questions already so that Carson will be able to respond to your questions prior to the events as well, if possible. Moving on to the membership, as that's the motive of the club. The subsequent events that are lined up are specifically for the members, and the members are going to benefit a lot from this club. So these are the methods where you can kind of register or be a member of this club, and you guys can pay from via Zelle and Venom as well. So these are the registrations link and membership drive. So this is a kickoff event. Please do register, as I mentioned earlier as well, that there are a lot of benefits for the members for this club. So we are going to roll out a specific email for that as well. So stay tuned, be updated as well. Also, if you have any questions related to the club, we have our president and the vice president on the call. Pooja, who drove the entire event today, and we have Amlan as well. He is our vice president of this club. So if there are any queries related to the club, how to register for the club, shoot out the email to them as well. We'll respond on priority. So that's pretty much it from my side. Pooja, handing it over to you.
Thank you so much, Varun. And we will also be doing some giveaways in our next event. We'll be giving away some product management books. So make sure you attend the event. It's going to be a lot, it's going to be very helpful. And moving on, like back to you, Laxmi, like, do you have any final words to say or any advice as an UTD alumni for us?
Firstly, thank you for inviting me, and it's great to be back to a club which I started. And I would say this is a great opportunity for you guys. I couldn't benefit much from the club in a sense that wasn't there for much long. I was just there for the semester that I started it. But I'm sure this is a great opportunity for you guys to work and learn, understand from the different speakers that are coming in. I'm sure they have great ideas and then great work that's been put so far. So do join in and take advantage of what you have and the university. The time you have to network and attend these sessions, you won't get it back again. So make the most of it. And I would say all the best to you guys. If you have any questions, anything, feel free to shoot me a message on LinkedIn, and I would probably take some time, but I'll make sure I get back to you guys. Thank you. Thank you for everything.
Thank you so much, Laxmi, for joining us today again. Thank you, Professor. Do you have any advice before we end our event?
No, great first meeting. Thank you, Laxmi. Thank you, everyone. You know, if everyone would just turn their cameras very quickly. Let's get a screenshot of this fantastic turnout. So everybody, let's do a camera on, everybody on, large gallery, and let's just get as many cameras going as we can, and let's take a screenshot of this, someone, so we can, you know, put that on our website for the next meeting. Large gallery preview, right? You got to switch modes, and kind of a good way to sign off, I think, as well. We had a really good turnout, 50 plus, 65, I think I saw at the max. So thanks for everyone. So I don't have anything else to say. So Pooja, back to you. And thanks, everyone. Good to see you all.
Yes, Professor, like the response was overwhelming, and we are very excited to start off on such high note. Thank you, everybody, for joining us and making this event a huge success. Just give me 1 second. Let me take one picture. Say cheese, everyone. We're good. Yes. So thank you so much, and everyone, like, feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions regarding the club or our upcoming events. We will definitely reply to you as soon as we can. And yeah, thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Professor.